When I first started human design, I learned my strategy, wait for the invitation. I learned it, I followed it, I trusted it. And then nothing happened. I was so confused. I realized that I was using my strategy as the end goal, the destination, rather than the tool to find alignment and momentum in my life. So if you've ever been confused about your strategy and how to use it to find your alignment, this conversation's for you.
Welcome to Frequency of Self, your go-to resource for the practical application of human design in life, business, and relationships. If you're ready to experience lasting transformation, hit subscribe.
Strategy is an incredibly important part of human design, but somewhere along the way, strategy got conflated with alignment. Strategy is simply a tool to help you move through life with less resistance, whereas alignment is moving through life without resistance. I know these sound like the exact same thing, but they are so different, two very different concepts. And today we're going to break down what are the differences between strategy and alignment, where do people go wrong when they begin experimenting with their strategy, and what are some tools that we can use to help connect strategy with real-life alignment. Part 1, strategy and alignment. When you learn human design, you learn your strategy and its importance in helping you reduce resistance in life to flow through life easier. So projectors, you're gonna wait for the invitation. Generators and manifesting generators, you're gonna wait to respond. Reflectors, you're gonna wait a lunar cycle. And manifestors, you're going to inform before initiation, because we all know manifestors don't wait. This all has purpose. It slows us down and allows us to clear the field, clear the area, so that we can actually hear the authority, whatever your authority is, and respond based off of that. Because that is how we create alignment, to be able to slow down, have awareness, listen to the body, that inner authority, and then move forward. Strategy removes the resistance when we listen to it and follow it correctly. Alignment is about authenticity. What feels peaceful for manifestors, satisfying for generators and manifesting generators, successful for projectors, and surprising for reflectors? It's that internal state of I'm at ease and I am moving through life without resistance. That's what alignment looks like. Your path unfolds in front of you and you move through it with ease. Alignment is the bigger picture. Strategy is the tool that helps us get to that larger picture. It is entirely possible to follow your strategy and not live in alignment. Let me give you an example. I'm a projector. My strategy is to wait for the invitation. Well, I did that, and I did that, and I did that. But I waited hidden, which means no one knew that I existed. How do you get an invitation when no one knows that you exist? So I got over my fears, my conditioning, all the things, and began putting myself out there. But not initiating, not saying, hey, I'd like to do this, or I'd like that job, I'd like to work with you. I waited for the invitations that began to come in that said, oh, I want to work with you. Oh, I like what you do. Ooh, I like what you have to say. Then that allows me to sit back, let my authority, so my splenic authority, feel which invitations are correct for me. That's what moves the resistance and allows me to move through life in an aligned way. But it is entirely possible to live a life that isn't aligned because you are holding to your strategy like a dogma and not implementing it as a tool. And that's what I mean by the difference between strategy as a tool and alignment as the life goal. So now I'd like to hear from you. Have you ever experimented with your strategy and felt like it held you back, or you got stuck, or were confused about how you use this to find your alignment? Drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Part 2, where people get confused. Over the years of experimenting with my human design, of working with clients and their designs, and of being in a large human design community, I have noticed there are 3 types of people that experiment with human design. And before I talk about the 3 different types, I definitely want to mention that there is no judgment on anyone if you are one of these people. It's just what I've noticed. The first person is the dogmatic rule book follower. They are the ones who need only source material from raw, which is great material, by the way. It's very dogmatic, black and white. You must do this, you must be this. If you are a projector, you must act like this. And they use their strategy in a way that limits them. Like I mentioned earlier, waiting for the invitation. Literally waiting inside my house, no one knowing I exist and expecting some invitation to come through. It just doesn't really work that way. And the second person is the person who uses human design as a justification. These are the ones who are using it as a reason not to take action or ask questions. So again, waiting for the invitation. What can I do? I'm a projector. I just have to sit back and wait for the invitation. It's my human design. No. No, no. That does not lead to a life of alignment. That leads to being stuck in your home, doing nothing, waiting on something that is never going to happen. The third person is the person who uses human design and their strategy as a mirror, an awareness tool. They're asking, what is my strategy telling me to do, and how am I using it to move through life with more ease, to move towards that aligned feeling? So as a projector, the strategy is waiting for the invitation. And this might look like sitting back and waiting and asking the question, why am I not being seen? Why am I not getting any invitations? Am I putting myself in the right spaces? Am I putting myself in the wrong spaces? Am I seeking recognition for people who were never meant to recognize me? That strategy, waiting for the invitation, invites the questions, invites the reflection. And that's what I mean by slowing down. It creates time for you to reflect, to ask the questions so that you can strategize. Oh, I need to put myself in a different environment. You know, I've been talking to a lot of people being kind of pushy about things when they weren't really responsive. For a generator or a manifesting generator, they are to wait for something to respond to. And this might look like, I'm not feeling anything to respond to. Am I actually going out and doing things that light me up? Am I using that sacral energy and feeling good about where I'm going, who I'm meeting? Or am I saying yes to things simply because I think I should? For a manifester, the strategy is to inform. And that is gonna look more like, am I informing just to put the information out there? Why am I not feeling supported in what I'm doing? Why are there so many miscommunications? And instead asking, how am I informing? Who am I informing? And what kind of information am I giving that lets them know this is the support that I need? And am I informing at all? Or am I just expecting people to read my mind? For a reflector, the strategy is to wait a lunar cycle. And this is not about delaying a decision, but rather giving time for observation. As the moon passes through each gate in a full lunar cycle, there's more information to be had to better make a decision. Reflectors, your question might be, how does this decision feel over time? Am I actually becoming clearer, or am I just becoming impatient? Which one do you relate to the most? The justification, the rule book, or the mirror? Part 3, supporting alignment with strategy. So now we know all about strategy, alignment, and which of the 3 you might be in your human design experiment. So how do you actually use strategy as the tool to find alignment? First and foremost, keep experimenting with it. Try asking the questions that I mentioned in part 2 of this video. Those can be very helpful when you sit and reflect with those. And if you find it hard to do that, sometimes it helps to do a little bit of nervous system regulation. That can be as simple as a breathing technique, just in through the nose, long, slow exhales through the mouth. Your vagus nerve, it's the 10th cranial nerve. It's responsible for your fight or flight, your rest and digest, and it is regulated by breath. So when we hold our breath, hyperventilate, we go into fight or flight. When we release. We go into rest and digest. So simple breathing techniques. I often recommend that clients set a timer every hour that says exhale, not breathe, exhale. So sometimes when you sit with these questions, it can be helpful to just sit, do a little bit of breathing, then ask the questions. And if you feel upregulated again, a little more breathing and then ask the questions. Then you can use your authority to figure out exactly where it is you want to go from there. Another strategy that I love is to use the eye movement. So sitting here and looking all the way to the left and holding just your eyes all the way to the left until you feel the need to yawn or breathe. And then all the way to the right until you get the same response. Just that alone takes very little time and can help regulate you. Alignment is best recognized from a space where we are regulated in the nervous system. So everything feels less urgent, clearer, and safer. I think the most important piece of this is to have a vision that is bigger than your strategy. Your strategy is not the goal, it's not the destination. It is the tool that helps you arrive at your aligned goal and destination. When you have a bigger vision, something to move towards, then you can see how to implement your strategy so that you can remove all resistance in getting towards that aligned life that you seek. And this conversation is exactly why Amanda and I have created the Frequency Collective. It's a place where we can use human design astrology as a shared language to dive deeper into the practical application of these tools and many, many, many others to create the big vision strategy, figure out how to move forward in not just career or health, but in life in general. So if this sounds interesting to you, we invite you to join us. The link is in the description below. And whether you decide to go deeper with us or not, here's the takeaway. Strategy is never the destination or the goal, it is the tool. The tool that allows us to sit back, to regulate the nervous system, to slow down, so that we can ask the reflective questions, so that we can hear the inner or outer authority that allows us to move through life without resistance, because that's what alignment is, moving towards your bigger goal and vision without resistance. Obviously, if you've made it to the end, you have resonated with something in this video, so please drop a star emoji to let me know that you have watched the video, like, subscribe, share it with any and all people you know in the human design experiment. And obviously you've made it this far, so you are our people. Please check out the Frequency Collective, link in the description below. And if you want to go further into finding this alignment, we have a wonderful video on the cycles and seasons of life, and you can get that here.